Isang matinding political showdown ang nabulgar at tila may isang umurong sa laban. Sa likod ng mga closed-door meetings at pribadong usapan, lumabas na ang katotohanan tungkol sa relasyon ni na Representative Rodante Marcoleta at dating Senator Ping Lacson. Ang tila napakainit na sagutan na inakala ng marami na harapin ay tila hindi natuloy. Ayon sa mga ulat, nagulat ang lahat ng tila na duwag si Lacson sa mga diretsahang tanong ni Sendante. Ano nga ba ang mga tanong na ito na tila hindi kayang sagutin ng isang veteranong politiko? Ang bawat panig ay may kanya-kanyang bersyon ng kwento, pero ang ebidensya ng tila tensyon sa pagitan ng dalawa ay hindi maikakaila. Ano ang tunay na dahilan sa likod ng biglaang pag-atras? May kinalaman ba ito sa mas malaking laro ng politika sa darating na halalan? Panoorin ang aming eksklusibong pagsusuri at alamin ang buong katotohanan sa likod ng kontrobersyal na tapatan na ito. Mag-subscribe na!
Yung Vice Chairperson ng Appropriation Committee nung 19th Congress. Patawag mo na yung mga individual na yan.
Losing their livelihoods
Yan.
and lives.
Yan.
Our country stands to lose about 89 billion US dollars between 2022 and 2050 due to floods and tropical storms. Again, as we speak, the Philippines remains at the top of the World Risk Index 2025 among 193 countries worldwide as the most disaster-prone country due to high exposure to floods, typhoons, and other natural hazards. These are only some of the reasons why I must speak today. Mr. President, while the partial committee report circulated to the committee members nearly 3 months ago remains pending for sponsorship, I cannot ignore the public's urgent demand for transparency regarding the flood control scandal. Therefore, as chairman of the Committee on Accountability and Public Officers and Investigations, I rise today to deliver the chairman's progress report. This progress report contains the findings of the partial report, which is grounded but not limited to the 7 exhaustive public hearings in aid of legislation conducted by your committee on what stands as the largest corruption scandal in Philippine history. This also touches on the proceedings of the 8th and latest hearing and on other key matters of urgent concern to the succeeding public inquiries. Again, for the record, the partial committee report was circulated on February 11, 2026 to the members of this committee for thorough study and consideration. As provided in our rules, Section 1, Article 5, Blue Ribbon Committee Rules, committee reports must be signed by a majority of the committee's members before they can be filed with the Bills and Index Division of the Senate. Given the scale of the investigation and the details of the discussion, which, as you all know, reached more than 400 pages, sans the annexes, each member has been afforded more than sufficient time to examine and scrutinize the full substance of the report. Everyone is given a full opportunity to review and propose revisions, modifications, deletions, and corrections. In line with Senate practice, we have provided an advanced portable document format or PDF copy to every office to allow our members to sufficient time for review. Common sense lang sa isa nating kasamahan
Nako!
na pilit naghahanap ng
Naku, may problema tayo dyan. Magpaparinig na naman. Pangalanan mo kasi para hindi ka nagmumukhang coops dyan, Senator Ping. Pangalanan mo, sino ba yung isang kasamahan?
original signed copy at ginawa pang dahilan sa hindi niya pagpirma. It should be understood that the digital version serves as the formal notification of the report's contents, Mr. President. To date, almost 3 months have passed. Only 7, including the President, Chairperson, and the Senate President, have affixed our signatures to this draft.
Lahat ng gustong ma-impeach si BP Sara, ayan ho sila. At lahat ng ayaw malaman ang katotohanan sa mga maanumalyang flood control project, ayan din ho sila. Ah, yun eh. Ah.
Therefore, thank our colleagues, Senator Erwin Tulfo, our Vice Chairman, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, and the latest, Senator Rafi Tulfo, who have signed the partial report. And while I disagree with those who have not, let me state for the record, Mr.
Yeah,
President,
yeah.
that I respect their decision, even as I understand whatever reasons they have for not signing. Bottom line, it is their right as senators of the Republic. Nonetheless, it bears heavy emphasis. Most of the findings of the partial committee report are no longer new, and first view, they have already been validated, if not overtaken, by current events. In fact, the report may be pending, or while the report may be pending, the wheels of justice have already begun to grind. And I take pride in saying, in line with the direction of our report. Mr. President, the Blue Ribbon Committee is a heavy cross to bear, where every move is scrutinized and every intention is questioned. But we shoulder on and forge ahead. In my more than 50 years of public service, I cannot recall experiencing a situation where I am in now, a zero-sum outcome, whichever path I trek in the crafting of the partial committee report. Never mind the trolls and critics who have been operating like clockwork. To them I say, I have built my career and my reputation over decades on a simple principle, that noise never overpowers duty, and intimidation never silences me. Set aside, if they must, the fact that I have spent my entire public service career refusing and resisting all forms of corruption, from rejecting bribes from illegal gambling operations and other unlawful activities during my law enforcement years, let alone the pork barrel system which plundered our nation and was later declared by the highest court as unconstitutional, not to mention my consistent rejection of lobby monies in as many instances related to certain pieces of legislation. Disregard.
Meron tayong problema niya, si Senping. Meron tayong problema diyan. Ang tanong dito, ang tanong natin dito, noong bang nagdaang eleksyon, yung mga campaign funds na ginamit nyo sa kampanya, saan galing? Di ba? Kasi kung ikaw nakinabang doon sa mga pondong ginamit ng alyansa at yung mga pondo na yun galing sa nakaw. Hindi ko sinasabing galing sa nakaw. Kung sakali man galing sa nakaw, lahat ng sinasabi mo na yan, anak ng Petrang Garapata, magkakaproblema tayo dyan. Diba? Magkakaproblema tayo dyan. Kasi kung totoo na talagang involved ang presidente dito sa anomalya na to, at yung ibang ginamit doon sa nagdaang kampanya diyan sa alyansa ng mga magnanakaw na yan, yung ibang pera diyan galing sa mga maanomalyang flood control project. Anak ng toko, malaki problema natin diyan. Hindi ko sinasabing galing. Kasi sinasabi niya, minsan daw wala siyang bahid ng korupsyon. Ngayon, alam mo, hindi mo alam na yung ginamit nila sa paggawa ng mga billboards, pag-organisa ng mga dambuhalang rally, yun pala galing sa mga maleta ni Saldico. Malaki problema natin dyan, Senping. Malaking. Hindi ko sinasabing galing. Kumbaga, yun yung mga posibilidad. Kasi yung mga nakakalagad dito, papunta ng Malacanang. At yung ika nga, boss ng alyansa na mambubudol, si Marcos Jr. Yun ang boss ni Ping Lacson.
If they can, the decades I have spent in the trenches as a budget watchdog and a relentless buster of abuse of power. If my track record of integrity is to be ignored today, then let the evidence speak where my history is silenced by the critics and the trolls. In the course of drafting this report, my guidance to my staff was unequivocal, that we adopt a single standard in laying down the committee's findings. We go where the evidence leads us. Before we dive into the findings, let us be very clear in plain, simple terms. We are not here to indict, much less convict or hand down a final judgment. Hindi po ito isang hatol.
Yan.
Rather, we're establishing a standard of clear indicia, as lawyers call it, to assist in whatever way we can the proper authorities who shall independently evaluate these findings, determine probable cause, and take the necessary legal actions. Halimbawa, sa kaso ng ating kasamahan na Senator Jingo Estrada, ay mayroong bagong development na
Ayan.
naganap
Naku,
sa
yan na.
pamamagitan ng LBRMO
Oh.
na nagpahayag na hindi si Senator Jinggoy
Oh.
ang proponent base sa record
Nako po.
ng mga proyektong una nang naiugnay sa kanya.
Oh,
Nonetheless,
pero ganap na ganap kayo diyan sa komite noong binabanggit nung mga taga-district engineer ang pangalan nitong si Senator Jinggoy, Senator Bong Revilla. Nako, malaki problema natin dito mga kababayan. Malaki o problema natin dito. Ngayon, parang ang magiging perception ng ating mga kababayan kung sino man ang pinaparatangan dito ng mga mastermind dito sa mga maanumalyang flood control project, magdalawang isip ang sambayan ng Pilipino. Baka yung mga pinaparatangan, sila yung mga inosente dito sa isa na to. Anak na to.
Mr. President, let
Oh.
me be uncompromising. In this long course of inquiry, the Filipino taxpayers are the complainant. Our duty to them is to answer three fundamental questions. Number one, where did the money go?
Yan.
2, how was this corruption executed? And 3, how do we fix the system so it never happens again? Mr. President, this all seems like deja vu. We have seen this before. The history of corruption in the Philippines reflects a cyclical process. It does not disappear when exposed. It adapts and mutates to survive. The flood control crisis is the reincarnation of the 2013 Priority Development Assistance Fund, or PDAF scam, but in a bolder scheme. It serves as a scathing indictment of the failure of our institutions to deter corrupt machinations. The enterprise remains unchanged in essence, similarly orchestrated by a cabal of officials led by legislators and their co-conspirators within the government and in the private sector, only with a diversified format and modus of thievery, timing, and language. Like floodwaters, these activities seep into institutions and areas of least resistance, flowing into and exploiting new channels where illicit rewards abound and oversight.
Pambihira. Walang kwenta. Kanina pa ako nakikinig dito. Wala akong kakwenta-kwenta. Alam na namin lahat yan, Brad. Ang naging resulta ng ng pagnanakaw ng administrasyon nitong si Marcos Jr., bigyan mo kami ng bago. Nag-privilege speech ka, nagbita-bita ka, tumayo ka dyan. Bigyan mo kami ng bago.
Weakest.
Nanyang to.
Mula sa masilimuot na investigasyon, ilalatag ko ang synthesis ng findings ng komite sa 5 bahagi. Una,
latag mo.
napatunayan sa mga pagdinig na ang problema sa baha ay hindi nag-ugat sa kakulangan ng pondo. Instead, the scale of funding coupled with weak internal controls and criminally complicit oversight made the sector an attractive target for systematic plunder of the public treasury, effectively leaving our citizens exposed to a deluge of misery. Ito ang nilalaman ng Part 1 ng ating findings. Second, the anatomy of this flood control anomaly is inherently parasitic, characterized by a network of actors spanning the highest levels of authority. Hence, Part 2 of the findings clearly laid out how the anatomy works. From utilizing an institutionalized workflow deeply entrenched within the bureaucracy, employing mechanisms so brazen and gross that they either compromise, recruit, and or bypass oversight. Third, ang flood control mess ay representasyon ng sukdulan at nakakarimarim na evolution of the pork barrel system. In this scheme, corruption takes different forms and names, from congressional slabs of pork, now euphemistically rebranded as allocables, leadership funds, and insertions, extending their reach even to the unprogrammed appropriations under the General Appropriations Act. Part 3 details the scheme's stark similarities to that of the pork barrel scam from language to operations. Fourth, the case of Bulacan First District Engineering Office serves as a microcosm of the systemic rot. It provides a blueprint of how flood control funds are diverted, revealing the interconnected systems that facilitate the corruption. Fifth and finally, the dire consequences of this institutionalized plunder are not merely financial. They are felt in the structural erosion of our democratic institutions, the profound disenfranchisement of the Filipino people, and the tearing of the moral fiber of the country. Now we ask, where did the money go? Evidence on record shows how the flood control corruption scandal exposed a systemic, coordinated, multi-actor process. Isang malawakang sabwatan na ginawang gatasan ang mga proyekto para sa flood control. Ang pattern ng korupsyon ay systemic at parasitic. Magkakaugnay mula sa mga aktor.
Alam na namin yan. Anong bago? Ping Lacson naman. Anak natural, magkakaugnay yan eh. Alam namin na talagang mayroong sabwatan. Ang gusto namin gawin mo, magpatawag ka ng hearing. Ipatawag mo yung mga personalidad na kung saan mabibigyan na ng kaliwanagan yung mga nangyaring nakawan dito sa mga maanumalyang flood control project. Alam na namin yan.
Or mekanismo at workflow. Who are the actors? In the course of the hearings, we have identified key actors who were implicated in the flood control anomalies and classified them into 8 groups. Ang partisipasyon ng mga aktor na ito ay hindi limitado sa isang grupo lamang.
Iyan.
Sila ay maaaring gumalaw sa iba't ibang kapasidad, sabay-sabay o nagpapalit-palit, depende sa pangailangan ng kanilang operasyon. Nariyan ang mga proponents, mga opisyal ng gobyerno na kinikilalang quote-unquote may-ari ng proyekto at tumatanggap ng average na 15 to 30% na kickback. Mga bagmen or intermediaries, sinasabing authorized representatives and emissaries of the proponents, DPWH facilitators and coordinators, mga senior level officials who coordinated with proponents, facilitated the respective project proposals, accepted their demand for commitments and other activities related to the flood control anomaly process. DPWH Group, syndicate groups implementing the project tulad ng Bulacan First District Engineering Office at Oriental Mindoro District Engineering Office. Tinuturing ding active actors ang mga contractors. Sila ang namumudmod ng commitments o suhol sa mga proponents at iba't ibang grupo na kasabwat sa anomalya. Madalas, sila ay nagbibigay din ng advances bago pa man ma-award ang project. Hindi nga ba namangha tayong lahat, Mr. President, nang matuklasan natin sa isang pagdinig ang pahayag ni Sally Santos ng Sims Construction na magkasunod siyang nag-withdraw noong Marso at Abril 2025 sa isang land bank branch sa Bulacan ng tig 457 million pesos na cash na kanyang binigay kay Bryce Hernandez at mga kasabwat nito sa First Bulacan District
Alam na namin yan. Anong bago? Pambihira tong
Engineering Office.
Budol-budol talaga
Ang
to.
iba pang mga aktor ay kabilang sa executive branch, bankers, at constitutional oversight group. These actors thrive in the vulnerability of our systems and institutions. Now, how was this corruption executed? Himay-himayin natin ang mga teknikal na paraan kung paano ninakaw ang pera ng bayan. These are specific mechanisms of corruption. Ang mga makinaryang ginamit para pabilisin ang pagnanakaw at pahinain ang ating sistema. Nariyan ang ugat ng problema, ang proponent system. Meron pang mandatory fixed percentage commissions, kickbacks paid in cash, rigged bidding and favored suppliers at in-house contracting. Ilan lamang ito sa mga sistema ng flood control scam. This corrupt system exploited the very foundations of our fiscal governance through its institutionalized workflow, mula sa budget formulation at authorization, kung saan sinisimulan ang pagmamanipula, procurement and implementation, kung saan ang mga kontrata ay binibigay sa mga kasabwat na nakawan, hanggang sa oversight phase na kung saan nagmimistulang pikit mata sa katiwalian ang mga opisyal ng gobyerno na dapat ay sumusubaybay at nagmomonitor sa mga proyekto. This scheme exploited systemic and institutional weaknesses in budget formulation, authorization, implementation, and oversight. Testimonies and documents reveal that a wide range of public officials, from legislators to frontline officials, as well as private sector co-conspirators, were complicit in various ways, either by approving dubious projects, signing off on ghost projects, or failing to enforce and procurement and performance standards and accountability safeguards. Next, Mr. President, how do we fix the system so it never happens again? Ang pinakamahalagang bahagi ng report ng komite ay ang mga reforma sa sistema, batas at proseso sa pamamagitan ng legislative proposals. We focus on two pillars. First, budget-related proposals. Tanggalin ang anumang uri ng allocables and leadership funds na pinauso ng DPWH upang mapaghati-hatian ang pondo. This is a pork barrel incarnate and it clouds our fiscal transparency. We also suggest itemizing unprogrammed appropriations, strict compliance with the release of unprogrammed funds, and public disclosure of excess revenue certifications for the use and release of unprogrammed appropriations. Given the massive scale of controversies, particularly under the 2024 appropriations, we may also consider abolishing the unprogrammed funds altogether. We are also calling for the vertical and horizontal convergence of infrastructure planning across government agencies, both at the national and local levels, and crucially, enhanced public participation and legislative transparency. Second, our accountability and anti-corruption proposals. Primary to this is the amendment of Republic Act number 6770, or the Ombudsman Act of 1989, which includes A, creation of an anti-corruption law enforcement service in the Office of the Ombudsman and providing incentives and protection to whistleblowers. B, expanding the authority of the Ombudsman to deputize private lawyers as special investigators and prosecutors. And C, fiscal autonomy laws for the Office of the Ombudsman and the Commission on Audit. This is in line with the precedent of giving fiscal autonomy to the Supreme Court as provided under Republic Act 12233 or the Judiciary Fiscal Autonomy Act. We won't allow another fiscal intimidation faced by COA in 2020 when its appropriations were held hostage as for later release or FLR. For too long, our laws had more holes than a sieve. We are here to plug them. Ang ating sagot sa mga contractors. We will define beneficial ownership and conflict of interest so that no legislator can hide behind a corporate veil. We will also push for a law defining and penalizing the crime of infrastructure fraud and bid rigging in the award of public infrastructure contract.
Wala, Ping. Nakanto ko, nainip na yung mga kasama ko dito sa PH update sa'yo. Ano bang bago? Alam na namin lahat yan. Big rigging, mga contractors, mga nagbebenta ng proyekto. Linuloko mo na naman kami dito, Brad. Nga ka.
We also propose authorizing the Ombudsman and the Secretary of Justice to issue whole departure orders for those involved in large-scale corruption. No more fleeing before justice is served. We likewise propose a strict prohibition and higher penalties against government employees gambling in casinos. Titiyakin natin na wala ng BGC boys na magwawaldas ng limpak na salapi para linisin o ilonder sa kasino.
Yan.
As a measure of accountability,
Brad, alam na namin yan. Anong bago? Kailan ka maghihiring? Ang bihira.
we will
oo.
pass a law for the digitalization of SALEN and PDS and a law for the comprehensive whistleblower protection measure to strengthen oversight of government projects. On accountability, we observe that state auditors are physically based in the agencies they audit and receive substantial perks from those agencies such as office space, supplies, personnel, and cash gifts, among others. These arrangements create familiarity, which limits our state auditors' ability to conduct a legitimate audit and in many cases creates conflicts of interest. Hence, we are proposing a law that will facilitate and support the withdrawal of COA auditors and the recall to the Central Home Office from their auditee agencies to ensure independent and accountable reporting. We also propose a law to provide for a citizen's remedy and means for redress and compensation, similar to a taxpayer or a class action suit for citizens, group of citizens, or a community who may have been prejudiced or injured by defective, substandard, or inadequate public infrastructure. Mr. President, these legislative reforms seek to dismantle the very anatomy of the flood control scam, paralyzing corrupt actors, overhauling broken mechanisms, and severing the workflows that feed the systemic greed. Ito po sana ang legislative output ng komite na sa ngayon ay hindi pa natin may file. This is why we await our colleagues' signatures, a necessary step to move these reforms forward. Mr. President, in the proposed partial committee report, we recommended that several lawmakers be subjected to preliminary investigation as the evidence points to that course of action. That said, we acknowledge that the passage of time since the preparation of the report has overtaken certain aspects of these recommendations. This does not weaken the report. On the contrary, subsequent developments have reinforced our core findings. As of January this year, 4 key individuals who appeared before the Blue Ribbon Committee hearings were admitted to the Witness Protection Program. These witnesses include former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, former District Engineer Henry Alcantara,
Naku po!
former NCR Regional Director Gerard Opulencia,
Naku po!
and contractor
Naku po!
Sally Santos. The executive branch has ordered a comprehensive review of flood control programs nationwide, including the creation of interagency task forces, stricter validation protocols for infrastructure projects, and enhanced transparency measures in public works spending. The Office of the Ombudsman has filed multiple criminal cases before the Sandigan Bayan against former and incumbent public officials, contractors, and private individuals in connection with alleged anomalous flood control projects, particularly in Bulacan and Oriental Mindoro. The charges include violations of Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, as well as malversation of public funds through falsification of public documents under the revised penal code. Parallel investigations by the Department of Justice led to the creation of special panels of prosecutors tasked to handle at least 5 ghost flood control projects in Bulacan, with prosecutors recommending the filing of draft malversation, perjury, and falsification charges, and after evaluating affidavits, audit findings, and sworn testimonies of engineers and
Pambihira.
whistleblowers. Several of these cases have
Walang
already been
kwenta.
submitted for resolution, while others remain under preliminary investigation. Proceedings are now underway before the Sandigan Bayan, which has begun issuing orders on preliminary matters. The NBI has conducted fact-finding operations and case build-up that led to the filing of complaints against respondents linked to the flood control scheme. The Anti-Money Laundering Council, Mr. President, complemented these efforts by initiating financial intelligence investigations. It has secured multiple freeze orders from the Court of Appeals with over 21.8 billion pesos in assets frozen as of April 30, 2026, linked to irregularities in flood control projects. It has also preserved a total of 2.5 billion pesos worth of assets. Freeze orders have been issued against numerous individuals, including former Speaker Martin Romualdez,
Yan.
business associates,
Oh.
and corporations. Sa tagal na may report out, ang nangyayari na po ang mga rekomendasyon at findings ng komite. Now, Mr. President, ako naman ang dinidiin ng mga kritiko.
Nako, yan na.
Taliwas sa paulit-ulit na naratibo na ayaw ko daw imbitahan si Congressman Romualdez.
Oh.
Uulitin ko po,
Oh.
formal na inimbitahan ng komite ang dating speaker.
Oh.
The committee-
Ba't di nagpunta? Interparliamentary courtesy pala. Palakpakan.
Extended invitations to Representative Romualdez and other members of the House of Representatives whose names were mentioned during the hearings through the office of the current speaker, in keeping with established interchamber courtesy.
Yan.
These invitations were declined, with the exception of Representatives Toby Chanco and Leandro Leviste, who voluntarily appeared before the committee. It must be emphasized that no member of Congress has ever been subjected to a subpoena by either chamber. Such an act would risk undermining the balance and mutual respect that define bicameral relations. Suppose we
Kahit maging trilyon, bilyon, daang bilyon nang nawala sa ating kaban ng sambayan ng Pilipino, tuloy-tuloy lang ang interparliamentary courtesy. Kapakat tayo, di ba? Kahit trilyon nang nawawala sa kaban ng ating sambayanan, interparliamentary courtesy pa rin tayo. Di ba, Senping? Kahit gumapang na ang buong Pilipino, sambayan ng Pilipino, bumaksak ang buong Pilipinas, interparliamentary courtesy lang tayo. Di ba? Wala problema yan.
follow such ludicrous suggestion
Yan.
made by one of our